candidate forum. My name is Dan Morey, Vice President. I'll be the moderator this evening. We have one candidate, unfortunately, could not make it tonight. Stefania Czech could not make it. She had some family issues. We have some pre-prepared questions, and during the event, if you have any questions you'd like to ask at the end, please write them down on a sheet of paper. Kind of wave your hand. Sarah will grab them, and we can submit them. At the end, I'll read them off and give the candidates a chance to answer them. So without further ado, we'll let the candidates do their own introduction. 1 minute. They've been seated in random order, and we will proceed with the first question to Mr. Cook, and then we'll continue along. Second question will go to Mr. Sherry, and so on. Mr. Cook.
Yes, I'm Glen Cook. I'm a lifelong resident of District 3. I spent over 30 years in the South End, where I grew up, living on Erie Street, down by the High Level, and on Colburn Street. Attended Libby Jones, the old Marshall School. Probably some of you don't remember, it was called Newton at one time. So I also then, after I got married, moved to the East Side, which is where I've been for 40 years. So I think I've seen some of the problems develop over the last 50 years in both sides of the river. We are the only district divided by a river, which divides us a little bit, the regional. Makes it a little more difficult, I think, for the constable to handle. But I feel that sometimes people feel like maybe the Burroughs area feels like they've been neglected. I'm not so sure how long, how many times Peter Vying was out here, but I think that that's wrong, and we need a constable in there that will visit and talk and be with all the neighborhood groups in all of the district.
Thank you. And Mr. Sherry.
My name is Matt Sherry. I'm the current District 2 councilman. I was a lifelong Toledo resident as well. I moved out to South Toledo around 11 years old with my family, attended Rogers High School my freshman year, and then I'm a proud Donald graduate. I currently reside near the Copeland and Anthony Wayne Trail area. I have a lovely wife, which I just celebrated my 12th anniversary this weekend with her, and I have a 9-year-old, excuse me, a 9-year-old boy and a 3-year-old boy that attend Beverly School. My mom is the one that I would say probably got me into the public service spotlight. She was a Toledo police officer for 25 years, retired Toledo police officer. Always taught me the right things to do in life, so I try to instill that into my kids as well. Like I said, I was appointed in 2014 when Mayor Collins took the spot. I won a 4-way race in May of 2014 to retain the spot, and I also won my last election 4 years ago. So this would be my last term if elected again, and I hope I can finish what I started. And thank you all for having me tonight.
Thank you. This is Abigail.
My name is Abigail Sadowy. I am also running for District 2. I am a born and raised resident of District 2. I was born across the street from the old Bowsher High School. I went to Beverly, Ferndale, and Bowsher. Graduated in 1991. I currently live on the other side of our district, over off of Holland, Sylvania, and Dorr Street, where the new 475-23 exit is coming in. I have had the pleasure of having a large variety in my life of vocations and doing some amazing things. I worked as a police officer in Eden, Ohio. After that, I worked for Toledo Public Schools, and I've also had the joy and pleasure of being a business owner as a DJ for many, many years. I have 7 children. I've been married for 16 years, and this is an opportunity to me that is a growth and a way to give back to the community and do more for my community.
Thank you. Mr. Worthington.
Good evening, I'm Robert Worthington. I'll be 25 and elected. I'll have a master's in the study of law at the end of this December. I already have a bachelor's in law and social thought. Both of those are from UT. I'm president of the Burroughs Neighborhood organization and thankful to our vice president, Dan Morey, for hosting this so it can be unbiased. I'm an independent Democrat because I believe in the democratic ideals, but I don't believe the Democratic Party is living up to the standards of us everyday Democrats. I offered to help with that, but on my own terms, not theirs. And that's really what you're going to get from me. The real me, no party constraints, no talking points. I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant, and I will offer my services till the day I die. That being said, I'm not just in this to win this election. It's not a game, it's not just for me, and there's way too much on the line. I'm in this for the long haul, and that means doing what's right, not what's convenient or expected, even if it means I lose this time. This is your democracy if you can keep it, so please keep paying attention, stay actively informed, and let's have a good time tonight.
Thank you. And lastly, but not least, Ms. Gadus.
Hi, I'm Theresa Gadus. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm an educator, a resident, and a community organizer of District 3. When I decided to throw my hat in the ring, I had a friend come to me and said, Theresa, you live on the east side of the river. How are the people in the historic South and the boroughs going to trust that you're going to fight for them? And I said, there are more things that unite us than a river could divide us, because we all want safe neighborhoods, we want efficient city services, more parks, and youth engagement. I have the leadership skills to get us there. And if I'm your elected councilwoman, I will work for you and with you to take on all the challenges our district faces.
All right, first of the prepared questions. Everybody has a copy of the questions. We also have times per each question for response. First question will go to Mr. Cook. Start and then proceed down the line for each person to give their own response. The downtown area is seeing major revitalization. The land bank partnership with the BNO has seen some improvements in our neighborhood. What are your plans for spreading and continuing that revitalization in the BNO and the surrounding areas?
The downtown revitalization is happening because of private investment and the cooperation of the city leaders. I watched the downtown struggle for years as private investment moved out into the mall areas. And there was many attempts to bring it back downtown. Some might remember the mall they put up down in the middle of downtown some years ago. Also the Portside event that tried to bring people back. But once growth in business and residents stretched out to the far enough, that we now are seeing sort of a rubber band effect. Things are coming back, and we see this tremendous resurgence downtown in particular, and now it's growing out into the east side, and hopefully the south end as well. So I think we're on the verge of some renewal. We have things like the Cleveland Cliffs project, which is going on, and many others out in the Oregon area, which is going to bring more jobs for the little ones. So all that is good, but at one time, you may remember Mayor D. Michael Collins said, we cannot have economic development until you have a safe neighborhood, and that's the biggest problem we have right now, is safe neighborhoods.
Matt?
So there's a couple things I've already been working on as a councilman. Obviously, Southwick Mall is in my area, and when I took over in 2014, I thought that was going to be one of the easiest things I could accomplish, and I sit here and stand corrected, obviously. As coming from the private sector, I'm very well connected with developers and things like that, so I thought that would make that easier, but it hasn't yet. I can say that with the Southwick plan, you know, if I am elected another 4 years, I'm not, I work on it constantly now, but it will be even more for the future. We got to get something done with Southwick. But a few things that I have done is I put together in place the DIP program, which I think the Burroughs Neighborhood is taking advantage of the triangle. I think you guys call it the triangle, correct?
Correct.
And that was one of the biggest things that we put in place for every district to try to have council members have a pot of money that will help out some of the 501c3s in the area. The other big plan that I'm trying to get done now, and I think we're going to get it done very soon, is called the CRA. It's the Community Reinvestment Act. Southwick's currently under it, and if you see over in the Heather Downs Reynolds area, they're building some new houses, they're condos. That was only done because we expanded that CRA, and if you look at the CRA map, it's not very big, I'm sorry, but the circle right there is your neighborhood. There's no reason that the whole city can't be under a CRA. There's no reason it will offer tax benefits to people building new houses, and it also offers other tax incentives to business that want to come back into neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Sit down.
The downtown area is seeing a lot of revitalization, and again, as Mr. Cook stated, there is a lot of private investment as well as the city working with them to bring things out. I do approve and applaud that the city council has put together the DIP program and that you guys were able to utilize that for the triangle. There's more to be done though. I think it's more of a not just meeting once in a while. There needs to be a lot more meetings outside of council time and a lot more meetings with people to invest in our communities. It means working with our communities and finding out specific and special needs that they need. What really is going to bring revitalization? What do you truly need? Like the lights, obviously the lights are an issue around here because it is pretty dark at night. It'd be nice to have that a little safer. So definitely working more one-on-one in the community with people, connecting our community with opportunities for growth and reaching out.
Mr. Wright.
Okay, so I was one of the 2 members that actually went to the land bank a couple of years ago and secured their help for our neighborhood, and that included demolition of vacant and torn down homes, rehabilitation, and selling high to raise our collective property values. They came here because they said we were an active group. I also wrote and secured the $13,000 district improvement grant for the BNO to develop the triangle, as Mr. Cherry mentioned. And then I met with the land bank, who has now taken over project management and has offered an additional $10,000 to our project to unify boroughs. I've already offered to help Beverly, Arlington, Highland Heights, and East Toledo in doing the same. I think we need to rebrand, focus on the positive, and bring a sense of identity to District 3, and that's what we try to do in the boroughs. Bring a sense of identity that reflects us instead of the gunshots and boarded up homes, which dominates our reputation. Now, when I ran in 2015, I said a big thing for me was fixing our reputation. I believe I've been doing that since. I also listened to East Toledo residents when they said they didn't want downtown revitalization just spilling into the east side, but they wanted an East Toledo revitalization of its own. I'm also, I'll take this opportunity to mention, I'm a bit skeptical that the projects, Cleveland Cliffs and the apartments, are really the solution to our problems in District 3. There's no timer, so I'm just going to finish. When I wrote the district improvement grant for the Burroughs Neighborhood, I titled it Burroughs on the Map. And that's exactly what I intend to do for District 3, put us on the map in our own way. And this also includes connecting citizens to local businesses. I've done all this in the Burroughs Neighborhood, and I believe I can do a lot more in the district.
Thank you. And Ms. Gadus.
I think that there's a few different approaches. First, to continue what the city is already offering. So repurposing vacant lots, encouraging the residents to improve their properties with the incentives that the city has given us as far as the grants that were mentioned. But most importantly, it's about bringing the residents and the community members and the stakeholders to the same table with the city to form partnerships and to collaborate on the goals and the outcomes of urban revitalization you want to see in your neighborhood, because it's about your neighborhood and your identity.
Thank you. Next question will be a 90-second response. We'll be starting with Matt Sherry. What makes your candidacy stand out from your opponents, and what is unique to your campaign?
Thank you, Dan. So, one of the biggest things that I've been doing this almost 6 years now. So I think experience has a lot to do with my campaign. I've got a lot of irons in the fire that we need to get accomplished still. I've been working on them for quite a few years now, and I believe I can get that done in my next 4 years. The other thing is I didn't mention it in my introduction, but I come from a union background. I fight every day for union workers and others that are not union workers. Very, very blue-collar campaign, and I will continue to do that for the citizens of Toledo. We're a very working community, and I think the middle class and the working class deserve much more than what we're able to give them, so I'll keep fighting for them. The other thing that I've been working on Since the Hicks-Hudson administration was around and we went for a tax increase to the voters was another 0.25% to fund roadways. But unfortunately, that administration would not tell the people that it's only for roads, and it failed miserably. And it was because of the way the charter's written that, you know, it couldn't all go for roads. But we're the legislators, and we're the ones that can change certain things. We can take a charter change to the voters. And I think that the road plan that we hopefully will be hearing very soon, just so everyone knows, we spent $1.7 million this year on residential roadway repaving. We should be spending 40 to 50. That's what we have to spend to get our roads back into even a B minus, a C plus type position. So that's one of the biggest things I'll be working on if elected again. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mrs. Downey.
What is unique to my campaign would be my experience in many ways, my growth and experience as a human being. I am not a politician. I chose to do this because I am a person of the people. I physically walk my neighborhoods. I physically walk all throughout District 2 because I enjoy doing it, and I get to see physically what's going on in the streets. My experience in the sectors of life, being as a police officer, as a mom currently, and taking care of my family, allow me the opportunity to talk to people on a person-to-person level and find out exactly what they want and what they're looking for, and not look at it from just a business perspective. It is a business perspective, but I need to have the quality and the character to be able to talk to people face to face, and that is one unique thing that I bring in my candidacy. And it makes me stand out just because I am not a politician, and my plans are to physically sit down and talk with people door to door and find out what's going on. It's not a Monday through Friday, just once in a while, meet twice a month. It's sit down with people throughout the time and then bring that in so we can collaborate, get some solidarity, and work further in our communities to build more and grow more.
Thank you. Mr. White.
My campaign is different because it's not a political campaign, it's an informational campaign. I'm here to lead us in a new direction. I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant. Props for that. I'm not here to force myself onto you. I put all my information out there, I respond to every communication, and if you still decide to vote for someone else, go for it. I'm proud of my name and my stances, and I speak up for them. I don't stand and wave with a sign. I get on my hands and knees and pull weeds and do actual work in the community. You'll get that sense of more from me. I pledge to do actual physical labor to fix up our district in addition to my plans for the city. Our district needs this kind of help, this hands-on help. That would include property rehab, mowing tall grass, fixing a fence, coat of paint, litter pickup, graffiti removal, and there are donations, partnerships, grants, and volunteers right here in the district that we can utilize. And I know because I've done it. Litter pickup, adopt a park, property maintenance. I've done a mural with my fiance. I've gotten 2 grants with the BNO. The city won't do everything, but I won't let us fall behind anymore. I have actual plans, 4 years of plans, listed out in paragraph form, not just talking points that play well with voters. I'm not going to parade the name of a shot dead 16-year-old girl and then not have the guts to call for gun control. Like I said, there's too much on the line. I'm going to do what needs to be done, say what needs to be said, and I'm going to be a damn good representative for this district.
Thank you. Okay.
So I am a leader in my community as well. I'm a chairperson on One Voice for East Toledo. I've facilitated the East Toledo Main Street Initiative, which brought business leaders and community leaders together and created a plan for the revitalization of our business corridor. I have led the team Operation Safe Growth, which is a data-driven collaborative project to build safe neighborhoods, and we were actually nominated for a global problem-oriented policing award. As a stakeholder in the Glass City Metro Park and the revitalization of Navarre Park, I made sure that the plan stayed true to my community's vision, and I'm involved in GLSEN and other committees within the school system, and we are focused on creating equal and inclusive communities.
Thank you. And Mr. Cook.
Yes, I've heard a lot here. I say that probably I'm the oldest person for candidacy for District 3. I think that gives me a lot of experience. I've served in the military. I've coached football. I've done all these things that Mr. Worthington has talked about over the years, trying to help our neighborhoods. And I think one of the things we need to do is work together. I want to reference what Mr. Worthington said about me in his op-ed. I witnessed the shooting of the young lady 20 feet from me, which disturbed me terribly and just convinced me more to run for city council. But Mr. Worthington said, and I don't use tragedies for political purposes. That's what he says in his op in reference to me. So basically, he was saying that I'm using false pretenses to be elected. If that's the kind of person that's an informational campaign, then I don't know what it is. So all I'm saying is, I've been around a long time. I've done all the things that Mr. Worthington has said. I've tried to help my community, and I have run before, came very damn close to winning, and I think I'm going to win this time because I want to represent District 3 the way it should be.
Thank you. The third question on the agenda should be a short one. We hope 30-second answer time. We will be starting with Abigail Sadowy on this one. Will you pledge that if elected, you'll partner and work with the other elected district representative here tonight to continue to improve this area?
100%, absolutely. We need to work in solidarity and we need to work together. Nothing is going to get done by shouting and arguing over things that don't make sense. Anything that you want to get done, you need to sit down, you need to work together, and you need to work through it.
Thank you. Mr. Worthington.
Yes, to answer the question, I worked with Mr. Cherry, as he mentioned, to get the district improvement grant for the Burroughs. That was a $13,000 grant for us. That was great. I have a lot of views in common with Stefania Czech, who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, and I get along very well with Abigail Sadowy, and I would love to work with any of them to continue to help the Burroughs. Also, I just want to note, keep in mind that Sandy Spang, Rob Ludeman, and Cecilia Adams, all at-large council members. They live right down the road in South Toledo, so I'm looking forward to working with all of them.
Thank you. Ms. Gadus.
Of course, absolutely. Real change only happens when we work together.
Mr. Cook.
I agree. We all need to work as partners together in order to overcome all the things that are affecting our city. I think that I have an opportunity to do that. I am presently being backed by Party Finkbinder and several others, Mike Craig and others on the Democratic side. I think they realize that I can do the job that will bring us together. We need some revival, we need some renewal, we need some refocusing on what we need and what we're planning on doing and what we are doing for ourselves and our children. So I hope that I can work with all of us.
Thank you.
As most of you know me in this room, I'm a straight up individual, no crap kind of guy. So, and it's no illusion that Peter Uvagi and I have never really been friends, but I've been able to put that aside to fight for certain things just for the Burroughs neighborhood, including, you know, one of the biggest things it's not even in my district, but it's in District 3, is South Avenue in front of Burroughs School. Everyone knows how much of a mess that is, and you know, I shouted from the mountaintops along with Councilman Uvagi to get that done. So the answer is absolutely yes.
Thank you. Fourth question on the agenda tonight will be 60-second response. And it's regarding a current piece of legislation. Do you support the better board up proposal the City Council is considering? And if so, please explain the reason. And for this one, we'll be starting with Robert Ray.
Okay, so the better board up proposal, for those of you who don't know, is to have the boards on abandoned or vacant homes and buildings be more uniform in color. I think it was white, gray, and black, or to resemble the window or door that it's covering. I would have preferred to talk with the community more about it, but the short answer is yes, I support it. It's also one of the hands-on tasks I could probably be helping with. I was thinking maybe have the boards match the color of the property, but again, the discussion needs to be with the people who need to look at them all the time.
Thank you. Ms. Gadus.
Yes, I do agree, but I would like to take it a step further. because boards are nice, but there's other ways we can do safety. Cutting all of the overgrowth that is around some of the would give us an easier time as neighbors to keep an eye on those places. And I would invest in solar-powered LED motion lights at the entrances and the areas in which people are getting into those houses. Therefore, we don't have electricity, we don't need electricity, and they will be removable and be able to be used on other projects, but still keeping the entrances of those abandoned and boarded houses protected.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
I don't agree with this better board policy. I think it's putting lipsticks in the cake. I have had this thought for a long time that if we could privatize the efforts to get rid of these homes and remodel these homes, we'd be better off. I was on the original Light Authority Board that Mr. Ford started back in the day. And at that time, I suggested that to speed up this process, which is taking so long, we take down 50 houses and 20 more become abandoned. I think we need to get it done and get it over with and get started on renewing our neighborhoods. And the only way to do that is for the government to give up on all these rules and regulations. We've made it so that just a few contractors now can go out and make money taking down these buildings and renewing them. I don't think that's right. I think we need to get the project over with and get away from looking at this demolition problem and this terrible housing problem we have in most of the South End and East Toledo.
Thank you. Mr. Sheridan.
So I do support some type of legislation. I don't know if I support this type yet. Carefully reviewing it with my other council members. First of all, it's got to be fiscally responsible. You know, the one thing I was told is the reason we're going to this matter is because our departments said they won't cut the boards to size. Well, that's not acceptable. If someone tells you to cut the boards to size, then cut the boards to size. That's one of our biggest problems. They're only putting up the 4x8 sheets. The other thing is a big safety issue to me with talking with the Toledo Fire Department. There was talk about securing these, you know, if this legislation is passed, securing these inside the window with some type of clip form. And, you know, even though these homes are boarded up, sometimes there's people still in them. So, you know, our safety forces are very worried about if something did happen in one of these houses, are they able to get out if their entrance that they got in is blocked? So, yes, I do support some sort of legislation. I just don't know if it's this one.
Thank you.
The short of it is, I do not support this legislation. I think it is, again, as Mr. Cook has already said, putting lipstick on a pig. I think we need to be a little bit more motivated in finding a better way, like Mr. Charity said, to secure them properly, fiscally being responsible, and making sure that it's a safety thing. If you are boarding them up and you are boarding them up so tightly, you risk a lot of other things for the fire department and other people that can't get caught inside. You're also looking at the financial responsibility of who's going to take the time to cut it, how much more time is that going to take, how much more is this going to take, how are we going to be painting it, are we going to get the community involved with it? There's a lot more to it than just one thing, so no, I do not support this issue.
Thank you. Fifth question will be 30 seconds response. We'll be starting with Theresa Gadus. We hold a global youth service day every year in Indiana, and we clean up the neighborhood. It would mean a lot if our city council representatives would join us in the cleanup. Will you pledge to attend one global youth service day during your time on council?
Absolutely. I work as One Voice for East Toledo. We work with East Toledo Family Center, and I've helped plan 4 of them in our own neighborhood. This year was the largest because we were able to partner with community partners, and we were able to get about 500 people to clean up our area. We worked with several schools, and we even hashtagged it, hashtag Toledo. So I am a roll up your sleeve, get in the dirt kind of person too. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yes, I have participated in it, as I think Jody Gross would attest to in the past. I've also done my own. cut most of the alley myself. There's a spot there as you go underneath the viaduct and Star Avenue. I cut the city's lot, the state lot there, railroad down underneath. So yes, I believe that we should volunteer to do that, and I physically have done it myself. However, by volunteering and cleaning up the neighborhood, we should be setting examples for the individuals in the neighborhood to get off their butts and do something also. This should be a requirement that where you live, you should clean up and care for it. It's no longer enough to expect a few good citizens to step up while other people step back. So I'm willing to volunteer, but I want to see my volunteering and my effort in some way influencing the people to take care of their own property.
Mr. Sherry.
So my short answer is yes. I mean, that's my cup of tea. I love getting my hands dirty. I love being involved in the community. The only issue is every year on that day I schedule my own event at Woodsdale Park, the annual District 2 Dunk Day. But there's no reason we can't maybe reschedule that for another day, and I can get involved in your neighborhood cleanup day on that day as well. So, I mean, again, Mr. Kirk, you're absolutely right. We can go out and do it all. But we have to get more and more people involved and make them feel proud of their neighborhood.
Thank you. Ms. Sadowy.
I was tickled pink to see this question on here. I have been very blessed to be a part of Boy Scouts for the last 11 years, and we've done Clean Your Streams, and I've been over here at Highland Park for the last 5 of those 10 years. Wow, the things that you pull out of there. So I can imagine what there is here. I would be honored to walk with the people here and to help them clean and to move forward and do more with that. Absolutely, 110%.
So I've participated in, helped plan, and helped lead Global Youth Service Day in the Burroughs Neighborhood every year since I've been a part of the BNO. Also helped coordinate with the Highland Park cleanup, and I've participated there before as well. It's actually my favorite project of the year, and we do need more cleanups. As funny as it sounds, I love picking up trash as a volunteer, and it's what I do at the Triangle a lot. I also pick up trash when putting on yard signs, even now I'm doing it. I just love how much it helps beautify the area, and working together makes it even better. So yes, definitely going to continue.
Thank you. All right, 6th question, and we are back to the start. Mr. Cook, do you know your district's borders?
I think this is a trick question.
We have a test.
I was wondering.
Well, I think it's a trick question because for East Toledo is pretty simple. We're bordered by Oregon, Northwood, Rossford, and the river. That's pretty simple. When you get out into the South End, however, luckily I've lived in a number of places in the South End and went to school in a number of places and have been out in all areas, including the Burroughs area. So I know that we can come over the high level bridge, go out Broadway till you get to Shadow Lawn, I think it's called. That's about it. Then you got to cross over the trail, go to Arlington, go out Arlington to South Detroit, turn right, go out to South Street, turn left, head for the Burroughs area. There's nothing on the left that's ours. It's everything on the even side is ours. You can get on out to the south in the airport highway crossing. Then you start picking up some residents on the left. You get over by Burroughs School. I think you go out to somewhere called Shadow Lawn, or I can't remember the name of it, Southview, something. And then you come back and you pick up somewhere on Airline. You get around Fluring, come back to where Libby used to be, and come back to the trail. And you're back down to Erie Street where I grew up, 631.5 Erie Street, the only house left on the block.
All right, so yes. Thank you.
I'll try to be shorter than that. But, I call my district the Big L. It's the Rogers Bowser district, obviously. And in the relationship to the Burroughs neighborhood, I actually represent a very small portion of your neighborhood, which I think you've helped me identify even by phone calls. But basically from Apple to Detroit, south of South Avenue and Western, I represent. And then it cuts back over. It jumps in and out of Swan Creek a lot. And it made my life tough the first year, that's for sure. But I also represent what you guys call the triangle, I call the piece of pie. but it's almost like a piece of pizza, and I represent that area in your neighborhood as well.
Thank you. Ms. Sadowy.
Well, he hit it. So those are our areas. No, there's more. We actually go like all the way up by Botanical Gardens, straight across, down through Holland, Sylvania, and over. That's where I'm at. I'm over on the west side. I did grow up over in this area, but that is where I currently reside. Does come all the way down by Southwick, down over on the Maumee border. It is the big, beautiful L. It kind of looks like the Louisiana L. And it's kind of ironic that we would have these two districts here because both of them are very broad and very spread across. They represent two completely different communities that we have to bring together as one. So I actually brought maps if you wanted to see it, just in case.
I assume they're hand drawn. Mr. Wood.
So yeah, I know my district borders pretty well. Luckily, I have a good and somewhat photographic memory, so that makes it really easy. I've also delivered mail to just about every part of the south side in our district, not to mention I live here. So East Toledo's pretty easy. It's all in District 3 if you don't know, and I've traveled all over East Toledo and know the area around there pretty well. I can get around pretty well. At home in the dining room, I have a giant map on my dining room wall. And I also have a detailed map that I study, and I'd like to say thank God for the internet. And if you don't know, our district borders are also on the City Council website.
Thank you. And Ms.
Yes, I do.
I think there's a couple alleys that you want to. All right, thank you. Next question, 30-second answers. We'll be starting with Matt Sherry. Will you commit to attending a BNO general membership meeting at least twice a year? They are the third Monday, 7 p.m. Location will vary, generally Burroughs Elementary.
100% yes. I try to do that now. I know I'm not always successful, but I try to get to your meetings as much as my time will afford. I will say that I'm lucky in District 2 that I have many organizations such as this Burroughs Neighborhood organization that has meetings as well. So I try to get my butt to every one of them, and we'll definitely do a better job of getting to the BNO meetings.
Thank you. Lisa.
Absolutely, 100%. My campaign is actually built on working with the communities and going to the different neighborhood watch meetings as well as something like this. The BNO group is you guys advocate quite a bit, and I really need to be on the ground coming to these. If I was unable to attend for some unforeseeable reason, like a sick child or something like that, there would be a representative here for me to make sure that I get the information necessary and not miss out.
Mr. Worthington.
So hopefully, yes, for me to attend the BNO meetings. I do want to attend every BNO meeting, as I basically have, might have missed one in 4 years. So, and I'd also like to attend every other meeting to which I'm invited. I like being out into the community, listening to people, especially the passionate ones, kind of like me. Love working together to find solutions, and I also want to create the Southeast Toledo Neighborhood Alliance, so that everyone in the district can get together with their council member at least once a month and plan to do that.
Thank you. And Ms. Gadus.
Heck yes, it's on my platform. I plan on making sure that I travel to every area because you are the voice and I'm your representative. I would like to be your representative. So to take your voice and bring it to, you have to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yes, I think this question underlines the fact that BNO probably feels neglected, and I want to tell you, you shouldn't feel neglected. In the time that I lived there, in my 40 years in my district, I only saw my councilman twice. Once when he was running this last time, and once when the young lady got killed and he came to my porch to talk to me about it. So, yes, I intend to be at meetings in every part of the district that I can be. I feel that the councilman is only proper to be visiting and attending many functions possible, especially when it's productive time to help the district, help District 3. So that's been my goal, is to not sit in the office down in one government center, but to go out and meet with the people, find out what's happening, stay in touch.
Thank you. Next question, we'll be starting with Abigail Sadowy. 90 seconds, minute and a half for this one. Will you pledge to hold abandoned homeowners, be it banks or out-of-town landlords,
slumlords accountable for the appearance of their properties?
I was really hoping I would get this one first. It's actually a very loaded question. There's a lot involved in that. It's not just one thing. Yes, I want to be an advocate for that. Yes, there are ways to go about that. There are ways to advocate as a council member to make sure that that happens. It's working together and it's pushing things forward. It's not a simple solution, because if it was, we'd already have it taken care of. We'd already have those properties mulled over or pushed through and taken care of. It just isn't happening. So yes, I do pledge that. I do pledge to find better ways to make that happen and to help them to see what they're doing and what it's doing to our community.
So I would love to hold slumlords accountable. We talk about all the time in the boroughs. I'd love to increase fines and let them feel the shame they should feel for what they're doing to our city. They're doing it to make a profit off of poor people who can't afford it, which also makes me want to call for rent control. I hate when this issue gets pushed off into, oh, well, renters have responsibilities too. Because that's dodging the actual issue of absentee landlords, including the city of Toledo. Yes, we all need to keep our properties in a decent shape. We don't need to nitpick, we don't need to be perfect, but 4 feet of grass and weeds and broken glass and trash is ridiculous. Boards on homes, graffiti all over the boards, collapsing buildings, ridiculous. And while we're sticking it to the slumlords, I'll be out doing something about the blight in the meantime. I'll be cleaning up the properties, mowing the jungles, and handing them the bill. I'm not going to be a council member who just lets it sit like that all season, but we need to be crystal clear that that's not the main issue. The true issue is that we need people in those homes and people in those businesses. I believe I can bring us to a place where we can see that happen. Students, investors, new businesses. I'm tired of seeing people leave, and I want to be the one that gives them the reason to stay.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, I think this is one of the biggest frustrations. I've seen our youth, being an educator, I've seen our youth internalize the blight that's around them and the problems we have with the abandoned homes. I've been researching into policies and yes, I pledge to work on this because I think this is one of the biggest issues we have facing our neighborhoods.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yes, property values really are my passion. And I have owned 3 homes in East Toledo, down to 2 now since my son bought something out of the country. We have situations where, for instance, and I'll pick on this group because the code enforcement people, I think, have dropped the ball. They have more people now inspecting, but it doesn't seem to do any good. They have a locked door down at Government 1 Center, which makes no sense whatsoever. You cannot walk up into that office, you gotta knock on the door and be let in, and then they treat you pretty much like you're invading their area. I've called Dennis Kennedy many times to the point where he will not answer my calls, doesn't talk to me, you can't get responses. They claim that they've been threatened. Well, too bad. We're out here on the street, we're getting threatened too. They've got security downstairs. They can stop anybody go up there with threats. So that doesn't wash with me. I think we need to do a lot against these people that own 100 homes in East Toledo and South End, live in California and Texas. We got to make it tough on them. They should come here personally to pay their taxes. We should make a rule that they shouldn't be able to have a house unless they live within 50 miles of the place. And we have a new housing judge in Howell, and maybe that will happen. But to allow it to go on the way it is, these properties fall into disrepair, pick them up for $4,000, they wring the blood right out of them and then leave it for the city. I think that's ridiculous. I think the city has allowed that. I don't know about Mr. Cherry here, but I think we need to change code enforcement and get tough.
Thank you. Mr. Sherry.
All right, as the city councilman on this panel, I'll probably be a little bit all over the place here, but I'm going to disagree with Mr. Cook on the Department of Neighborhoods and code enforcement because they're a very strapped department, and I think that they're doing the best they can with the resources they've got. Do they need resources? Absolutely. Absolutely do, but that takes money as well. So finding those funds is difficult. I can say that as far as the process when I became the councilman almost 6 years ago now, was that process of, hey, you call me, I tell my aide tells someone in the Department of Neighborhoods, and it works through the chains. After seeing little to no results, that's not how my office operates anymore. We do most of the legwork on our own. My assistant is Christopher, and I owe most of that to him. He does a very good job of hunting down these landlords. I can tell you it's a bigger situation than a lot of people know, because unfortunately we have investors, or I shouldn't call them investors, slumlords, that live in Australia that own 90, 100, 150 homes in the city of Toledo, and that's just not right. And it's very hard to track down those types of people. The other thing is when we have had success just from my office handling those types of situations, but those situations always get kicked to the Department of Neighborhoods as well for their records. And once we do get them into court, I make sure that my office lets the courts know of what the process was and that we want to see something done. So very complex issue. It's a great question today, but it is a very, very tough issue to handle.
Thank you. Our ninth question will be starting with Robert Worthington. We know the city of Toledo is expanding the LED light program. One only needs to drive around the area, however, to realize the number of streetlights currently available does not suitably light the neighborhood. And candidates, if you have not done so, we would encourage you to visit the entrance section to the Burroughs Elementary in the evening. When we leave our monthly meetings, it is extremely dimly lit, difficult to see. Will you commit to getting more streetlights if they are needed after the LED replacement program is finished to ensure the neighborhood is safe?
So yes, obviously I will commit to more lights to improve safety and reduce crime, but also alternative solutions. I've also been invested in serving for a long time. I also ran in 2015. So you can actually go back to my previous campaign page on my website from 2015 and see that I wanted to get reflectors or reflective paint on medians and curbs where there could be a problem. I almost got killed coming out of a Waffle House because I couldn't see the median in the dark. I've also written a mock letter to Marcy Captor in high school saying we need more streetlights, so that's how long it's been. I know I'm young, but it's been a while. So it's a problem here at the Burroughs, and I also mentioned it's a problem all over the city. My brother used to live off of Hill Avenue. It's pitch black down there, so it's a real problem. Also, timers and sensors, like Ms. Gadus was mentioning, might also help us to not disturb the neighbors too much. I know there are solutions, so yes, I'm on board.
Thank you. Ms. Gadus.
Yes, lighting equals safety. Our neighborhood, just a little experience, our neighborhood requested to get an extra light in, and I know it does reflect on your property taxes. So if the neighborhood was not able to, or that was not something the neighborhood wanted to do, then we could look into safety grants or other outside of the box solutions to more lighting.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yeah, we certainly could use more lights. I had a strange thought about living out in the country and there's no lights. I don't know why that thought came to me. One of the problems you have with we've had with Edison is that we had lights, paid them money, but they didn't go out and put the bulbs in and maintain them. So yes, we need more lights, but we need more control over who's taking care of the lights. So as a taxpayer, you're frustrated. We always need to get more bang for our buck out of the city and out of the people that we deal with.
Thank you. Mr. Sherry.
Yeah, as you know, the LED enhancement program is currently going on. We're still doing a lot of studies. And I agree 100% with Mr. Cook as far as the fact that as taxpayers and citizens, we're paying for a whole lot of burnout lights. And it's not fair to us. And that's something that we have to do as a community as well. I need to know about those as far as District 2, so I can get them into Edison and get them fixed promptly. And again, we can put in all the LED lights we want, but if we're not maintaining them and keeping them up to snuff, then we're going to be in the same situation that we're in now. The other part is back to the LED lighting is, no matter who's elected on this panel today, we need to work together as District 3 and District 2 to make sure Burroughs is one of the first LED upgrades that happen. We're already doing some LED upgrades in other parts of the city, but I think with both council people pushing for District 2 and District 3, Burroughs Neighborhood would be a great place to get this done very soon.
Thank you. Ms. Sadowy.
Absolutely 100%. For safety, for just, it's pretty bad over there by the school when you're driving through. It really is. And I agree with Mr. Cherry at 100%. Both districts should work together to try and find new ways and try and find more ways to bring in more lighting. If there are some very, very dark areas in this neighborhood that could truly benefit from it, but slapping it, again, as Ms. Gadus has said, on to the taxpayers is probably not the right way to go. There are other ways and there are other things that we can look into to make that happen. And working together in solidarity through the council, I think, is the best way to do that.
Thank you. We're up to our last question. Reminder to the audience, if you have any questions you'd like to ask during the open session, please submit those questions. We'll have somebody come around and grab them real quick. Last question. Currently, properties on alleyway pay taxes for alley maintenance, yet no maintenance is being done. Will you pledge to at least get the alleys patched or graded? 90 seconds, starting with Theresa.
Absolutely, it is a city service, we are partnered to get, and that is absolutely something that we need to take care of. My sister, another personal story, my sister moved into a place with an alley, and it was actually featured on the Blade because it was so dangerous to get back there. The city could not get back there to clean the illegal dumping. So I know that this is a problem, and it's something that the right people should be held accountable for because we do pay as taxpayers.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yeah, alleyways, you really know, that's the thing of the past. It's almost like the corset, though. I'm sure they were happy when you got rid of them. As I understand, the alleyways were best when they were, it was portion buggies. Once garbage was switched from the alley to the street, we were left with what is this space behind the house. I mean, what do we do with it? It's obvious that the city can't handle it. I've called Streets, Bridges, and Harbors about half a dozen times in the last two months trying to just have somebody stop out and tell me when they're going to do something about it. And nothing gets done. I mean, nobody answers me anyway. So what would be best for it? Well, it might be a nice green space. We just plant grass. But the city couldn't cut that either, so that would be a mess. So that wouldn't help. We could let the landowners take that little parcel and pay a little more tax, but then I understand the fire department wants to use that as access so in case there's a fire, so you can't really do that. And then you have garages that do open up on the alley. I have the only one in my alley. The rest of them all go through the street. So I guess it's a question. It doesn't have a good answer. So maybe someone will figure out how to take care of the lake algae problem and then come up with a good solution for the alleys.
So I was part of a couple pieces of the legislation early on this year for streets, bridges, and harbors for them to purchase more equipment for alley grading, alley patches, and things like that. Unfortunately, I don't live a whole lot of this because I represent a district with, I think, 2 alleys. But as a city councilman, obviously the city's problems are all 12 of our problems. So I was very happy to be a part of those few pieces of legislation to help get the equipment that streets, bridges, and harbors needed. Speaking with Councilman Ubagi maybe a month ago, he was pleased with a few things were going on, but agreed that there was definitely a lot more work to do. So that's the biggest thing, is equipping our crews with the proper equipment to get alleyways done.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and I agree with Mr. Cherry. We only have a few alleyways in our area. I did, however, live on Woodsdale for a short period of time, so I did have an alley in my backyard. They are a mess. They are a bumpy mess, and it's difficult for the garbage men to get in and out, difficult for anybody to get through there and to use them. However, he's correct in the equipment. The equipment has to be precise to be able to get through and to open it up and to pave it properly. If you don't have the right equipment, you can't fix it. So it's better to get everything set up in place so that it can be taken care of. So yes, absolutely.
And Mr. Wayne?
So I don't go to Cedar Point very much, so the alleys are about as close to roller coasters as I get. I would definitely like to get them smoothed out. That's another thing I could probably help with myself with the hands-on work. But a lovely opportunity for talking about my plan for taxes in the city. I want to have specific taxes based on priority budgeting and based on citizen input. If I'm elected, I'm going to have a lot of time to go over the budget and see where we can be more efficient. Taxes are too broad right now, and the council and the mayor get to move funds in ways that citizens really don't like. I say we propose specific taxes for citizens to vote on to fulfill specific services, such as alleyway maintenance. Minimal taxes to add to or replace taxes already in place. We're talking millions of dollars in revenue for the price of 2 fast food meals per person. When they see where the money goes where they want, people might be more on board with supporting a tax. And when they see the numbers, they'll see that it's responsible taxation. I will work to the best of my ability to make sure it doesn't raise taxes overall. I, for one, can't afford it, and a lot of us in District 3 can. Citizens want more than general taxes. They want the roads fixed in a timely and efficient manner, unlike Monroe Street, and I believe we can get it done.
Thank you. All right. Appreciate the candidates keeping to the timeline. We finished that almost in exactly 1 hour, so we have time for the written questions. I'll get this one out of the way first. It is directed specifically to Mr. Worthington. Will you stay president of the BNO if elected to council?
So I don't think it would be appropriate for me to stay president of the BNO, but I've already addressed this with the group. I will still be active in the BNO. I'd like to see someone else take charge so I can really be a broad council member for all of the district. I don't think we've seen that, but I do want each district represented to the best of their own collective ability.
Thank you. In regards to the Better Board Up proposal, can the land bank be expanded to step in and renovate more houses to sell and bring new blood to the neighborhood? And we're back to Mr. Cook.
What's the question?
In regards to the Better Board Up proposal, can the land bank be expanded to step in, renovate more houses, and sell them and bring new blood to the neighborhoods?
I don't know, land bank has about 10 people now, I'm not sure. You will, sir? And land bank,
The Lucas County Land Bank, I know, has a staff, I don't know how many.
Somewhat outside of the jurisdiction of the city council.
Yes.
yeah, I guess I'm new.
Yeah. Sure.
So, yes, they could if there was more federal funding dollars available. The unfortunate part about the land bank and all the great things that they've done for not only this neighborhood and a lot of other inner city neighborhoods alike is, they brought down a lot of houses that just needed to come down. The unfortunate part is that was a lot of federal money, and that money is running out very quickly. They've already identified all the houses that they're going to bring down with those federal dollars, and until the current administration in Washington, D.C. Decides to give the land bank more, then that would not be a possibility.
Thank you.
Sit down.
I think he answered it for everyone. I don't know how much to add to that.
Any other candidates wish to?
Yeah, it's just a good thing to mention that the land bank could get a hold of more properties, especially if we do increase accountability for those landlords. So they could be involved in more property rehabilitation. Also, property can be donated to the land bank. So if somebody else steps in, grabs a property, if they have the money, I'm not sure if that would be a thing, but if they have the money, they could grab it up and the land bank could probably help them out. So yeah, from what I've seen working with the land bank, they're definitely on board with helping however they can, especially in the neighborhoods they've already been in.
Could I add something, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And just so I don't want anybody to take it the wrong way, there are other programs available that are not demolition programs that the land bank still has government dollars to spend, such as I believe it's called the Heritage Home Renovation Program. And, you know, so if you have a neighbor that has a roof that's fallen in and they just can't afford to put a new one in, that's when the land bank's stepping up now. So we need to take advantage of those dollars. We also need to let our neighbors know. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people don't know those dollars are available. So if your neighbor's roof's about to cave in, you know, step up and help. Call me. You know.
Can I add something?
Good, just ask, do you wish to add anything before we?
No, I just know that there are other opportunities other than the land bank for.
Okay, I apologize for not asking before I let Mr. Cherry.
He reminded me of something. There's obviously things on the books that should prevent houses from getting in that. The original owners should have been under some sort of jurisdiction to take care of what they had. We have created another section of government now that we're paying for out of our taxes to take care of laws that were on the books that people did enforce prior. So land bank, doing a good job, don't think they're necessary.
Next question. Let's see, we started with Mr. Sherry on this one. Mayor Collins promised to redo Arlington Avenue from Burn Road to Spencer, and when his predecessor took over, she shortened the work to end at South Detroit. We work to get the remainder done before it ruins more cars.
So that I'm clear, we're talking about the piece of Arlington from South Detroit to the zoo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so trust me, my office has received many phone calls about this. We are working with engineering services right now to get it on the radar. That is what we call available money from what we call matches and planning. So, you know, we put up, just throwing numbers out there, 100,000, and we can usually get the state to match upwards into the millions. So that's one street that we're definitely looking at. I can't say that it's a candidate yet, but it will be a candidate, and hopefully sooner than later. I would hope at the latest that it would be at least a 2022 candidate. So yes, we're already working on that situation, and hopefully we can get some state dollars, levy some state dollars to make it happen very soon.
Thank you.
Could you repeat the question for me?
Sure.
I apologize.
Mayor Collins promised to redo Arlington Avenue from Burn Road to Spencer Ave. When his predecessor took over, she shortened the work to end at South Detroit. Will you work with to get the remainder done before it ruins more cars?
Yeah, it's quite fun, the little dip that you go into just to get through that area. Yeah, absolutely, I would work with whomever it would take to try to make that happen. Our roads are quite a mess, and it's not a one-stop solution. There isn't one answer, and there are many opportunities in making sure that the funds are available and finding those funds and making sure that. So yes, the short answer is yes.
A lot of that portion of the road is District 3, so I would definitely, I've actually had a citizen approach me about this, and I went out, and, like she said, the dips are pretty fun. There's more roller coasters to be had. And yes, I think this goes back to my tax plan about specific taxes that I think we can put to better use and get more roads fixed.
I agree. We have to fix, of course, the major road is important. It's something we definitely need to get fixed.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
Yeah, where roads are important, and we always hear about them. It seems to be a cherry on the lowest branch. Let me read you something. For your information, East Toledo, I'm just going to use East Toledo. I'm sure South Toledo has the same kind of statistic. East Toledo has the third largest blight HUD homes in the state. Third in the nation, USA, for the most economically distressed area. Highest area in the state for opioid overdoses. Highest area in the state for overdose deaths. Highest area in the state for teenage pregnancies. Highest blight areas in the state. Has the largest number of juveniles in juvenile justice detention system. Has the least amount of programming for children, youth, and teenagers. Has the largest amount of dogs in the county, but least amount of dog license. 43605, 43609 has the most concealed carry permits in the city. Largest number of feral cats in the county. Largest percentage of human sex trafficking in the state. A lot of prostitution in neighborhoods, illegal dumping and dumping of tires. Torn down a little more than 300 homes in '05 this summer, and the list has gotten just as long. Drug houses, people not calling 911, TPD follows data-driven policing, overgrowth every year in the alleys, lack of infrastructure, care roads, potholes, and all that. Slow to lack of snow and leaf removal, highest number of assaults in the city, traffic lights replacing is not done timely, street lights more needed in dark streets, we've already talked about that. 67% of the homes in East Toledo are rental property. The national earned monthly median income is in Toledo is minus $260. 05 is the highest number of people living there that are on sex offender lists. So yeah, the roads are important, but we got a lot of problems.
And Tony Backos, don't forget Tony Backos.
We need a lot of work.
The last question we have submitted here is a little bit of, I've been trying to fact check a couple of the points in here. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and I'm trying to figure out how to apply it to all the candidates. In June, City Council passed an ordinance condemning the heartbeat bill passed by the Ohio legislature. 2 of the abortionists at Toledo Abortion Center have been convicted of child pornography. 1 is in federal prison. Toledo's Abortion Center has been fined $60,000 by the Ohio Department of Health for unsanitary practice. Are you supportive of City Council's resolution? The question from the floor ended, what is City Council's thinking here, but trying to apply that to all panelists. And I believe we are at Ms. Sadowy. Yeah, 2 questions.
That is really big.
Yeah.
I'm a devout Catholic, and I would say that I think you all know exactly where I stand and what the resolution went, and I'll leave it at that.
Mr. White.
So I would say, yes, I'm in favor of the city council passing resolutions like that, voicing the position of the citizens which they represent. In 2016, I actually sent a letter to all council members calling on them to pass a resolution saying the city of Toledo is against the candidacy of Donald Trump. Things like that need to be said, and I'm gonna be someone who says things like that.
Thank you. Ms. Gadus.
Roe v. Wade was voted by the Supreme Court, so I definitely agree with what the city council said.
Thank you. Mr. Cook.
I believe in Jesus Christ and the Holy Bible. I believe in everything it says. Therefore, I disagree. And as far as abortion goes, it's a strange thing. We have this discussion about immigrants coming in. My wife is a Hispanic. Her name is Hernandez. So I don't have anything against it. But the fact of the matter is we've killed millions, 60 million or more children that could have been the workforce that they're saying is coming over the border. So it's sort of hypocritical to say we need people because we don't have enough workers and we're killing them off at the other end. So no, Mr. Worthington can speak out what he wants. If God put us on this earth to live and to function and not to kill, that's a life of death. You're looking for death. We have enough death just by people shooting each other, as we've seen just in the last few months. No, I disagree with it totally.
And Mr. Sherry.
All right, so not to try to get on the abortion topic, but to stay on the topic of do I agree with what council did, and that's an obvious yes because I did vote yes. I can tell you I'm not a fan of these resolutions. I do agree that sometimes these resolutions are necessary to let our state and federal lawmakers know what city council thinks. But I can tell you as the president of Toledo City Council, I have limited them to what I feel is something important for a council to say and what it's not. There could be many, many more of these that have come out of the current city council, but I've actually put them to a limit. So yeah, I'm the first person to say that although I did vote yes for the resolution, abortion isn't a topic for city council candidates, nor is it a topic for city council.
Thank Any other questions from the floor? But once again, I'd like to extend the thanks of the Burroughs Neighborhood Organization to the candidates for attending tonight. Just as a quick show of hands, would anybody in the audience please raise your hand if you have not yet voted this year, so the candidates can give an idea on a lot of early voters. Early voters, yeah, that's actually surprising.
Oh.
I didn't raise my hand either.
Yeah.
Thank you again for coming, and
Thank you for having us.
Oh.
You know what, thank you. Mr. Worthington brings up a good point. We were supposed to do a 60-second closing statement from each candidate. So I believe we're up to Mr. Worthington.
Yeah, we're doing.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
All right, so like I said, I'm going to say what needs to be said, and when I'm called out, I defend myself. All his 77 years and experience, he's not prepared, he did not respect the time, and he lists no plans or ideas. Except get the churches more involved and maybe put city workers at risk. It seems he's running on a campaign of "I almost won last time," which against Peter Uvagi, after what I've seen, is not impressive to me. He rambles about the problems and hurts our reputation even more. The difference between me and my opponents, and nothing personal, is that if I believed any candidate were going to do more for this district than I wouldn't be running. I don't see it as a race, I see it as a duty to my country, to God, to my family, to strangers. Yes, I am religious. I do what I can to help. I serve so long as I'm the best candidate. I believe I'm the candidate worth your vote. Visit RobertWorthingtonToledo.com to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gadus.
I disagree with Robert. I've been serving our community since I was in church at 14 years old, all the way to I'm almost 40, in different capacities. I just want to take a minute though tonight to thank you for having us here and listening to each of us speak. Thank you.
Mr. Cook.
Yeah, I lived my entire life in District 3, South End, East Toledo. And I tried my best to bring my family up, help my neighbors, and help my community. I saw it get to the bottom of the rung as I watched a young girl die across the street from me. And I like to say that my father always said, he worked at Willie's Overland, and he always said, leave things better and more useful than when you found them. And I've always tried to do that. I've been in a house that was built in 1950. I've kept it good, added on to it, made it a place to live. I'd like to do that for East Toledo. And as far as my opponent's accusations, I just say this, as President Reagan once stated while debating Walter Mondale, I'm not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, I'd just first like to thank the BNO and all the residents for coming out. I'd also like to thank the candidates up here today, whether it's District 2 or District 3. I can say in 2014, it took a whole lot for me to decide whether I was going to run for council. Friends and family helped me make that decision. So as being appointed and then elected in a very, very tough race in 2014, I still have some things that I want to finish, as I said earlier. I think my experience already and my knowledge of the programs and the departments of the city makes me definitely a plus factor. And I'd also like to say, as a leadership role and as the president of Toledo City Council, my peers and colleagues voted 11-1 to make me their president. So I think that shows my leadership ability there. It's very tough leading council, I can tell you that. There's obviously 12 heads that all think they're the biggest, but I've been able to wrangle that, and I want to continue to do that, and I want to continue to be your District 2 councilman. And again, thank you for everybody involved in this process today. This is what makes Toledo a better place.
Thank you.
Again, thank you. Thank you for inviting us here, and thank you again for everybody showing up. It's beautiful to meet everyone, especially knowing that we're going to work together in some capacity. And I don't think it stops whether we make it on council or not. I think just getting to know each other, working for solidarity, and making sure that our community is taken care of is what it amounts to. I bring something different than Matt does. I don't have his experience. I do bring a fresh perspective. I do bring an on-the-ground perspective, and I do bring a perspective of the people. And that is what I am truly trying to do here. And I look forward to meeting with you and learning more and doing more. So thank you very much for the opportunity to come here and meet you.
Thank you. Again, thank you all for coming.
When's the raffle?
Oh,
I know, right?
The raffle?
It was for us to try and figure out who